Ryan Reeves of the Vegas Golden Knights recently signed his 2-year extension. So, Revo, thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate you joining the show, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
How you been? How are you and the family? We talked a little bit offline, but how's everybody doing?
Everybody's doing good. We're eager for hockey to start back up. Kids have been running me wild for the last couple months, but a lot of swimming. Might be applying for the Summer Olympics pretty soon here.
Nice. Michael Phelps on line one. Well, that's great to hear. You're always in peak condition. We know that. Hey, listen, we both grew up in Canada. We live and play in the United States for years. This is home for us, but this is something that's impacted us on both sides of the border. And while we're fortunate to call North America home and be a part of these two great countries, it has been a unique path for a lot of us in this great game that is hockey. So why don't you just take us inside what your starting in the game was like? And for a lot of the viewers that may not know, your dad was a top-end CFL football player, and having that kind of athletic gene, but also your mom and both of them at home. When you came home and said you wanted to play hockey, what was that like?
Growing up in Canada, it was easy. I used to play every sport when I was younger, so I didn't really come home to say I wanted to play hockey. I was just kind of in everything. I think the bigger shock to my parents was when I decided to play hockey instead of football because of the background that my dad had. But they had no problem with it. That was the one good thing about my parents is they never pushed me to play any sports, and I think that's what allowed me to really start enjoying hockey and football and really start growing a passion of it because they didn't ever put that pressure on me.
Yeah, fortunately, I didn't have that pressure either, and they were open-minded, mine were. So I know exactly where you're coming from. That goes a long way to have that natural support to allow you to follow and pursue your dream and your goal of playing in the league. So at what point for you, as you continued climbing the ranks, was it when you got to junior? Was it when you were in the minors? At what point for you did you first really encounter any type of racism or anything that was offside from, be it a fan, be it an administrator, be it an opposing player? What was that kind of experience like for you at that point?
Yeah, so when I was younger, I was playing AAA, and I had a player say something to me, and I guess when you're younger in Canada, you're not exposed to the racism as much, and so my thought was, well, listen, that's on you. You're gonna say something like that. You got to live with yourself. I don't got to live with that. But when you're younger, you don't really see that that's such a big problem that kids are saying that. So, as a young kid, I might have brushed it off, but, seeing the bigger picture now, that's a huge problem that you have kids being taught this at a very young age.
I just want to double down on that because a lot of times the rinks are placed, be it ball diamonds, be it basketball courts, whatever the case may be, soccer fields, but sporting venues, but we'll keep it hockey. The rinks are something that are supposed to bring people together and unify people. And that was something that, I was fortunate to have that growing up. But I've heard from different coaches and different administrators and parents that are complaining that exactly what you just said, that their son or daughter or their granddaughter or their niece that's playing youth hockey, they're being subjected to some of these epithets and some of these slurs. So that's something that we certainly want to get out of the game. How are you able to power through that from your perspective? You just mentioned that, hey, that's on you for the kid that did it, the perpetrator. But as you went along and got into pro, how are you able to just continue pressing on? And who are some of the people that you're able to lean on through that?
I lean on some of the other black players I play with. I have a lot of conversations with Chris Stewart and Wayne Simmons. Now it's more, with the climate of the world right now, now it's more you want to educate and you definitely want to start with the young kids because they're the most impressionable. So you want to get out there and educate them, whether it be the black community, the white community, and you want to bring them together. I think that's the where everybody needs to start.
Listen, you're one of the most respected voices, and I've been in the room at pregame skates for your teams. You played for great organizations. You're currently playing for a great one in Vegas, which we'll get to in a second. But I want to take people inside the dressing room, the locker room, the dynamic. You've played with a lot of great guys that happen to be great players. So whether it was Sidney Crosby, whether it's Marc-Andre Fleury, everybody knows them as future Hall of Famers and great players, but they're also great people. So maybe you could share with our viewing audience how and why that's so important to everybody in the room, but certainly for people that look like you and I, in terms of being included and feeling like a part of that group setting, so to speak.
Yeah, well, when you have leaders in the room and you have such strong voices in the room that look at you as a complete equal, that trickles down throughout the whole team, the whole organization, and it creates a comfort level with whatever background you have coming onto that team. And that's what those guys did, from Sid to Flower to, some of the older guys with Bear Jackman. Those guys welcomed everybody with open arms. Bear Jackman took me under his wing the second I got there, and he didn't know who I was. He just looked at me as an equal. And, that really helped me become comfortable on the team. And it kind of taught me to do that for other kids, no matter what their background is, where they came from, their skill level, doesn't matter. You welcome everybody because, it's an inclusive sport.
You played in St. Louis. St. Louis is the gateway city, but in saying that also, they're the defending Stanley Cup champs. Now, you were one of the pieces with several other players, whether you aren't there anymore. You were a part of that foundation and what that team was, but you're also beloved in St. Louis. So maybe you can talk about your experience. During Stanley Cup final, I saw a lot of Reeves 75 jerseys in different colors, different versions of the St. Louis Blues uniform. So what was your experience like there? You seem to be a fan favorite. Everybody loved you. How did that help not only you become an NHLer, but really allow you to play to your maximum potential and not feel withdrawn because there wasn't any needless, at least outwardly, that I was able to see, racism towards you. Everybody to a person, we love Revo. We love Revo. We miss Ryan Reeves. So what was that chapter in your career like?
It was great. I started my career there, and I was there for 7 years. And like you said, the fans are the blue-collar fans, and they seem to like the way I play. And it just made me comfortable in the city. It made me comfortable, going around, interacting with fans, being in that organization. And when you're comfortable, you're allowed to thrive. And so, for a guy who people said wasn't going to play a game in the NHL, I played 7 years there, and it allowed me to grow as a player, as a person. And now I carry my career on to, wherever it leads me now, which is Vegas, and hopefully I stay here.
Well, you're a great leader. You're an awesome guy in the room, a great citizen. You're a business owner, so I want to put that out there. You're building a house in Vegas, and you are very much a big part of what they're doing out there in that first-class organization. And I'll say this. It is the entertainment capital of the world in Las Vegas, I should say, and you are an entertainer, and you're great at what you do, man. So continued success. Congrats on that much-deserved extension. You guys are doing great things out there in Las Vegas. Thanks so much for joining us, man.